we're going to talk about Marilyn Monroe. We're going to talk about Marilyn Monroe and the casting of Ana de Armas.
I so wish we could play the trailer for you guys,
but we cannot.
so you know what we're talking about. But basically, people are mad that she is using a Cuban accent in the movie. She doesn't sound American.
I will say that she does make an effort. I listened to. I went back and put back on her in The Gray Man, and then in No Time to Die. She is clearly attempting to do. Yeah, Marilyn Monroe
the breathy,
voice.
Mousy tone that she uses is great. But they're not addressing the fact that she still sounds Cuban in the movie. When Marilyn Monroe was clearly like a New Yorker, you can hear from her interviews and her acting that she, it's a very distinct accent.
When you played a clip earlier, I said there was I don't remember what she said, but it was the most New York sounding thing I had ever heard in my life. So it says Marilyn Monroe's estate jumped to Ana de Armas' defense after the trailer for the forthcoming Netflix film Blonde sparked backlash, which will be rated NC-17. So
really,
maybe we should be reviewing
on Netflix.
I mean, NC-17 in Netflix just means it would be the same as like TVMA. There is no NC-17 for a not theater release. So after watching the trailer on July 28th, fans rushed to social media to slam casting directors over de Armas' accent in the film.
I have this image of people scrambling to their computer.
Slammed! I'm kind of disappointed that this is on Netflix, by the way. I think this is something I would want to watch on a big screen.
Yep. It says many complain that the Cuban actress's accent is too heavy in the film and that she sounds nothing like Monroe. So it goes with the quote here. It says, "Am I the only one not surprised that de Armas sounded bad in the Blonde trailer?" One critic tweeted. "Her accent is very heavy. It was going to take a lot for her to convincingly sound like Marilyn." I do wonder. I mean, Ana de Armas is a very in-demand talent right now, and she has a look that clearly, physically, they were able to make her look very good.
I was surprised.
Yes. I watched parts of The Gray Man again. She doesn't look anything like this. So they did the makeup department, the hair, the wardrobe. It goes a long way in portraying image for somebody on screen. But this backlash was always going to happen. But on one hand, I care. On the other hand, I don't care. To me, my question would be, would this bother people if it was a generic American accent that sounded nothing like Marilyn Monroe?
What, the tone? If she got the American accent right, but not the tone right?
If it was American accent, but they didn't
have
the tone is more important than the pronunciation, but you have to deal with both. And with the amount of trouble she says she went through to get this accent right.
9 months.
9 months of dialect coaching, practicing, and ADR sessions where she went in and corrected herself. She called it a big torture, so exhausting, my brain was fried.
I will give her this.
And this is what she came up with?
I will give her this. That is to take that on, knowing that you're going to have to, I would never want to do that. To know that I sound nothing like a person. I can barely talk as myself, let alone as somebody else. So I can't imagine having a voice that sounds so distinctly different. I think back to Halle Berry, right, doing an accent in one of the X-Men movies, and it just goes away after the second one because they're like, she can't do this. This is horrible. We're getting rid of this.
I'm sure it's incredibly hard. I know that, but
who's the girl? I mean, I think this is part of the casting director's dilemma, right? You have the chance to have this really big actor, especially this was filmed a while ago, so they could see the trajectory of her career. They want her name, but she doesn't have the accent, and you have to invest. You have to hope that the dialect coaching pays off, which it doesn't. I have two comparisons. The first one is, if you guys have seen the show New Girl, I don't remember his name, but the actor who plays Nick, who's the goofy kind of slacker writer loft guy. There were a couple episodes where they were there was one that had a choreographed dance routine, and he was I could no matter how hard I tried, I could not learn this dance. I cannot dance. And so they just stuck him in the back and were it's okay because your character is kind of a mess anyways. If you can't do it, it's fine. And it could make it work. It feeds his character. The movie Bridget Jones's Diary, what is that actress's name?
I love that movie. What is her name?
I'm going to look it up right now, but she very famously is an American actress, Renée Zellweger, who intensely trained and adopted a British accent. So convinced. I mean, Hugh Laurie in House did this. He auditioned.
Like half of network television is filled with British people that pull off generic American accents very, 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 very well.
Right. And so I sympathize with her that it's difficult, and I'm sure it's not easy. I don't think I could do it. I'm terrible at accents. But, somewhere along the line, the casting directors made a calculation that was like, it's more important to have her than to have the accent. Yeah. Which, maybe that'll, kind of ruin the movie in a certain sense. It's not gonna be as good as it could have been.
This guy,
I feel like it's even harder if English wasn't her first language.
Yeah. Yep. This guy from New Girl looks like a weird version of David Krumholtz from Numbers.
I've never seen that.
Okay, so there's an actress named Marsha Thomason who did a show called White Collar. She's British, from Manchester, and she plays
That's
an American.
Where my family's from.
And she plays an American in the show, and they have an episode where she goes undercover as a person from Manchester. And what she does in the show, she actually purposely does her own real life accent kind of bad in places to make it seem like she was screwing up, but they never call attention to it. That's how much detail was put into it.
That's so cool.
I think it's easier to, if you're an English speaker, to switch between different accents within the English language. But for her, she had to go from her native language to a different accent in her second language.
When Hugh Laurie would do in-house, he couldn't say Sebastian. He would say Sebastian because
hang up. But his accent was so. They initially said that they didn't want to cast any British actors, so he did his audition tape with an American accent, and whatever producer, casting director was like, "He's the guy." Did not realize that he was British until he showed up on set.
I don't know if I buy that story as much.
I love that
because
story.
he's such a he was already so well known at that time. I'm not sure if I buy that a casting director whose job it is to know.
But maybe
actors,
they just thought he was doing a really good British accent all the other times.
That could be. There's but that's the hard part of for Hollywood for these people. Like a lot of British actors have to do American accents, but they don't do regional specific. They just do kind of
a generic nasally
American accent. And they say that they are able to figure it out because so much of what the television they watch is American. So they just emulate what they see.
With more exposure to it for sure. I can't remember who this was. There's a guy on Riverdale maybe who's Australian, KJ Apa maybe. Nope. I could be totally wrong. But it's much easier to recreate an American accent, and so we don't think about these things. People are always surprised to find out certain actors are actually not from here. I just don't know if this... I can't say. I don't know that I'll go see this movie. Maybe...
Well, I don't know if you have to go see it, but...
well, you can't go see it because
I don't know if I will see this movie. I'll take out the burn.
Gabrielle Anwar was another one on Burn Notice who was... she wasn't even playing she played an Irish person who then faked an American accent for the show because they're like, God, I literally do buy that it's 2009. They're like, the Americans won't watch it if they hear a crazy Irish accent. So then when she has to do characters where she goes, her accent comes back out, and she knew the character of Michael Weston, played by Jeffrey Donovan, he would have to do an Irish accent that actually sounded fairly good because he spent his entire career getting rid of his Boston accent because he has a really thick Boston accent that he doesn't use when he's performing. So he's actually molded his voice to be more malleable because he just didn't want to sound. The same with Matt Bomer from White Collar, has a very thick Texas accent.
who's the guy who just did the Elvis movie? Austin Butler. And he kind of has a weird Elvis accent right now.
He's still using it.
He's like, I just got into the habit, and I don't know. I mean, he's on the press junket, so I feel like that's part of it. Why give it up? It makes it interesting.
Happens with Gillian Anderson. Because she's British and she spent a lot of time in Britain and America, so her voice goes back and forth between the two. In the Tomb Raider movie, Angelina Jolie does a British accent and Daniel Craig does an American accent. They're both bad. Even though he's British and she's American. They swap, and neither sound. Hers is better sounding as British than his is as American, but that's because Daniel Craig has such a recognizable voice.
Well, who played Anna Delvey? What's her name with the
Julia
curly
Garner?
hair? Yeah, and I heard her doing an interview on Jimmy Fallon or something where she's describing trying to get into the accent because the woman
is a very unique one.
Well, and she's German, but she's Russian, but pretends to be German.
She was German born. And her maiden name was Russian, and then she had this mixed in New York almost Valley Girl plus New York, like mixed in. And it was just like ultimately very annoying, and strange, but like addicting.
Well, and I remember listening to this thing and being like, I don't want to watch a whole movie of you talking like that. But if that's actually how she sounded, she did a great job.
I listened to interviews of the real Anna Delvey, and it's not like so far off. It's just more of like an exaggerated version of what she really sounds like.
And then there's poor Tom Hardy over here, who nobody can understand, which we literally covered the other day. That he's the actor that literally no one knows what he's talking about.
That just started from saying that like Gen Z uses subtitles more than everyone else, but I think that's just having a shorter attention span.
So is this something? Are we going to watch this? Do you think we should watch this?
What does your audience think? Do they want you to watch it?
Guys, let us know if you want us to watch
These
this.
are hard.
I was thinking about it. I just wish that if it were in theaters, I would be way more excited to watch it, because I feel like just based on the fact that this is about a silver screen actress, you should have it on a big screen.
I didn't even think about that. Yeah.
That's a great point.
And you're supposed to like watch this on your laptop in your house. I just don't like it. I don't like it. But if you guys want us to maybe review it or talk about it for a few minutes, like we're open to the idea.
Are we still going to go see Bullet Train this week?
Yeah.
I'm excited I'm excited about Bullet Train. That looks, the reviews are middling, which means if the critics hated it, I would probably love it. But if it's in the middle, that means it's probably inoffensive, but fine.
Let's see.
So,
also, I didn't like the aspect of the casting that was like, it's groundbreaking to hire a Cuban actress
to
as
play
Marilyn
a real person.
Monroe. She even Anna de Armas said herself, I only had to audition for Marilyn once, and he said, it's you. But I had to audition for everyone else, the producers, the money people. I always have people I needed to convince, but I knew I could do it. Playing Marilyn was groundbreaking. A Cuban playing Marilyn Monroe.
That makes no sense.
I wanted it so badly. You see that?
Look, I love Anna de Armas' work so far, of what I've seen from the little I've seen from her.
But like, what does this have to do with you being Cuban?
What the hell makes that groundbreaking? Why does displacing somebody, like literally changing somebody, why is that groundbreaking? I point this out all the time. I'm like, why is it groundbreaking? Why is race swapping a character groundbreaking? Why is gender swapping a character groundbreaking? What actually what change are you actually making? It would be more groundbreaking if you just casted somebody that actually looked like her, actually sounded like her, and was just like a basic bitch white chick. Like it would be. That's groundbreaking in 2022. It is. There is literally nothing less groundbreaking than race and gender swapping anybody. In fact,
who do you think could have done it better?
Or ethnicity swapping. It's literally the opposite. It is ground sealing. It is actually fixing the ground because it's that unimpressive.
Who could have done it better, though?
I don't care. Maybe she does the best performance ever. I just care that they act like they're saving the world by doing this crap.
Yeah, I don't like that she's feeding into that narrative.
Yep. So, also the other thing I wanted to point out here was the part about that the Marilyn Monroe estate defended this, because the Marilyn Monroe estate is financially
without addressing the criticism. By the way, they said any actor that steps into that role knows they have big shoes to fill. Based on the trailer alone, it looks like Anna was a great casting choice, as she captures Marilyn's glamour, humanity, and vulnerability. We can't wait to see the film in its entirety. My point here was like it was inoffensive to me. It didn't bother me. The executives in the bragging and the it's not even it's like lame bragging, right? It's like give me my social credit score give me my points for the social credit score. Mm-hmm. I need my likes on Twitter, because nobody in the real world cares. Old person goes and sees this on Netflix, they're gonna be like, why doesn't she sound like Marilyn Monroe? That's what they're going to say. They're going to like, she looks like her, but she doesn't quite sound like her. It's so clearly a Cuban accent. Like I
do think that does, like, for me, it would ruin some of the magic. I mean, I think of like the movies I've seen with Marilyn Monroe, and she delivers these great lines, and like her presentation is part of it. I really empathize with trying to do an accent that you just cannot do.
I wouldn't be able to do it.
And then they're in the hole. They've already started. She's already filmed some scenes, and they're like, "Oh man, she really can't do this accent." Like, we'll just pretend that it's not happening. Like, it's not a great approach, but like, short of finding someone who was like a perfect voice actress and dubbing her whole lines, like, I don't really know.
I hope there's enough ADR that's just noticeable and
I hate bad ADR.
Stupid.
Also, the for this, I would be a lot like if she had not said anything, and it was just kind of what it was. I can't blame her for taking the role. Do you? Like, make your money.
That's you, queen.
You do you. You make your money. That's fine with me. It's the bragging and the I'm representing this group and I am a speaker for this group and this.
Like,
this
is it
and
groundbreaking if a European actor plays an American character? No, because if it's like, again, if it's like white people, then who cares? They're interchangeable. But
maybe I can play Che Guevara.
I think that would be great.
Like, if you're Cuban and you play an American, that's, oh my gosh, earth-shattering.
I think they could hire me to pay.
Glass ceilings breaking everywhere.
It's the ceilings breaking from her voice being so bad. It's going.
She did the tone.
I'm kidding.
She did the tone like quite well. It's just she needed to actually enunciate the words differently, and that didn't happen.
Thanks for watching this clip, guys. If you want to see full episodes or follow us on social media, links are in the description below. Bye.